Well, over in Minneapolis, the city is making an active effort to close down homeless encampments this week. This comes after 2 people were killed and 2 others were shot at or near encampments in just the past week. Mayor Jacob Fry promised to expedite the clearing process, but some city leaders, they are not seeing eye to eye with homeless advocates. Adam Duxter shows us how they exactly got there and what could be coming next.
An encampment crackdown.
It's been terrifying. Terrifying for the people, terrifying for us.
Activist Nicole Mason says the city's promise to evict.
The recognition is that we need to be closing these as quickly as possible because we've seen the impact.
Has been a promise kept.
More than I can count. They're coming through, they're cleaning up.
Mason says now
There's nowhere to take them, there's nowhere for them to go. They're just stuck out here.
she's struggling to find places for people to go, or struggling to find the people at all.
When we had the encampment, at least we had eyes on our girls. And now we don't know where a lot of our girls are at. And they can be trafficked. They might have been kidnapped.
There are some scary days.
Even for the most dedicated experts.
There are no simple answers to housing instability and to unsheltered homelessness.
It's a tricky situation.
If there was an easy answer to that question, we would be doing it.
Steve Horsfield of Simpson Housing says there are dozens of shelter beds available, but a number of issues could still keep people out. In the meantime,
we're definitely a city that's in crisis in a lot of different ways.
It's not just the mayor, but police and regulatory services in agreement. Encampments cannot go on.
Encampments, period, are not a dignified form of housing. We maintain a minimum housing code for a reason that sets the stage for success. It sets the stage for livability, for safety, for life safety. It's the foundation, it's the bedrock for people to grow from there. Encampments aren't it.
In Minneapolis, Adam Duxter, WCCO News.
Now, the city says that it costs taxpayers anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 to clear an encampment. However, it costs significantly more for the city to provide services to keep them open.